It's a big day for us here at WWL-TV as we celebrate our 65th anniversary of signing on the air.
And since the beginning, Channel 4 has built a reputation for covering the big story, whether it was just down the street or overseas.
Yeah, tonight Mike Favors talks with some very familiar faces, some that we all love here, about the memorable stories that they've covered and what they say sets us apart from the competition.
When it came to news coverage and programming, WWL-TV stood out nationwide.
The networks looked at WWL-TV and marveled. They marveled. Networks would fly in and study us. Remember? They were like, why are Eric and Sally so amazing?
We really broke some major news stories. That there were times when the network came to us. Remember when Dan Rather came to the station? Because no matter what the news story was, it could be the Kennedy assassination in Dallas, but there was always a New Orleans connection.
Well, I remember Dan Rather came to the station and he said, you guys do the Kentucky Derby, the Masters, the Baseball World Series, went on and on. He said, we can't afford that at CBS.
If I forgot to, okay.
So we gathered 11 WWL anchor alumni, familiar faces you know by first names. Hoda and Karen.
Those were fun times.
Angela, Dennis, Carl, and Mike.
So it made it easy on me.
Garland and Jim.
I hope this looks okay.
Sally Ann.
Oh, look who it is. Hey now.
Rob and Michelle. And reminisced about memorable coverage.
We went overseas when no one was going overseas. Bill Johnson was standing in China. Like, when you think about what we did as a local market, it is unprecedented and unheard of. We were so far ahead of everyone.
One of the reasons coca patches are planted on mountain slopes like that.
We did a month-long cocaine series after 2 Saints players were caught with cocaine. They sent me and Brian Lucas and a translator to Colombia, Cali, Colombia, to show where cocaine came from. We went into the mountains and saw the coca plants being harvested by peasants. We were there for a week, and then we were with DEA agents when they busted a ship.
There was the sale of the Saints. No one in the U.S. had it right, except Eyewitness Sports.
Nobody knew who Tom Benson was in New Orleans for the most part. Everybody thought it was going to go to the Pritzkers, the Marriott family, the hotel family out of Chicago. But we had an inside source with the Saints.
And it wasn't even the lead story that night.
Well, we got the story that Tom was going to buy the Saints. We broke it at 10 o'clock, and it just happened to be one of those nights where Governor Edwards was getting indicted for some sort of scam.
We took on the issue of high crime in the 1990s from multiple angles. The series was called 34S, Police Code for Shooting.
From crime fighting to the doctors at Charity Hospital, and Hoda and Dennis spent the night with a family in a community that was just ravaged by the crime, and it told it from a human perspective, the professional's perspective.
Just back from service in Vietnam, Garland remembers covering 2 deadly fires in the 70s, one in the French Quarter, the other the Ralt Center. Then this.
I think a month later, the Howard Johnson shootout started, and I found myself in the courtyard of City Hall, hiding behind a hill as Huey helicopters flew in and shot Howard Johnson. I thought Vietnam was bad. This place is gonna kill me.
And then the story, Karen says, gave all of us the greatest sense of professional purpose. A viewer from devastated St. Bernard Parish told Sally Ann this.
And she said, thank you, because I remember when you were leaving the studio, your last words were, pray, prepare, and proceed out the door. She said that the family was thinking about staying in their home in St. Bernard Parish, but they decided to evacuate.
Post-Katrina, New Orleans has been the defining story of the last generation. I mean, it has to be. And I remember doing a 20+ part series on Ed Blakely's plan to bring back New Orleans, literally neighborhood by neighborhood.
Can't touch what we meant to that community and what that community meant to us. This was our neighborhood. Everybody. This was our city. It was tough.
But there was the positive too. Sally Ann's Our Generation that discovered teens who would one day anchor our shows. Lucy Bustamante, Wayne Carter, and executive producer Dominic Massa, responsible for some of our greatest coverage.
I didn't know that the young man who was sitting on the set of Our Generation would one day be approving my vacation time at WWL.
And there was Michelle's The Next Generation.
Kind of a weekly special on kids in our community and some of the impactful ideas and programs that were being initiated by young people.
And the papal visit in 1987.
That magnificent setting at UNO out by the lake and the clouds, I can still see it. Ronnie Cole playing beautiful music.
After our 1984 World's Fair special broadcast, Channel 4 started a program to underwrite admission costs so everyone could enjoy it.
When we left doing the broadcast, there were kids at the fence looking through. And they were never going to have the $15 or whatever it was to come in.
Sally Ann best sums up these moments in history this way.
Every time we go on the air, our words matter.
Meg Farris, Eyewitness News.